What's going on, champs and champions? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video, we'll be talking about Ghostface potentially coming to Fortnite for Fortnitemares 2025. Now, unlike Jason Voorhees, I do want to put a big disclaimer at the start of this video stating that, hey, even though we have some leaks and rumors that appear to align to what Ghostface is known for and how the different weapons could actually work, this isn't confirmation like Jason is. Jason has his name deliberately mentioned in the files, whereas Ghostface or Scream or whatever you want to call it doesn't actually have any of these mentions at all. It's just a weapon that seems to align properly with Fortnitemares 2025 and Ghostface. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about everything you need to know, starting off with the new Stalker OTL weapon that had new gameplay tags added to the files of this update. Now, OTL means on the loose, so the full name of this weapon or ability is Stalker on the Loose. Now, we have quite a few gameplay tags, such as a main and secondary ability, a scanning pulse that is going to use some sort of red visor effect. Maybe it's something that allows your whole entire screen to turn red when you're stalking, and maybe you'll be a little bit more invisible. Or maybe it's something where it marks nearby enemies in a full red visor design, instead of marking them with just, a little like diamond ping above their head. We have a jump scare and a attacking status, as well as a slowed status. Based on all this information, it appears that it's going to have two different forms of attacking. There's going to be your main ability, which is going to be a normal attack, and then a secondary ability, which might be more stealthy in a way, where you're going to be able to go up behind someone and jump scare them, and when you jump scare them, you'll also do a little bit of damage. People have been speculating that based on all this stuff, it could be Ghostface knife, so if it was a knife, maybe you show up behind them, jump scare them while you're invisible, and then you stab them with a knife to do a little bit of damage that way, and kind of freak them out a little bit. Who really knows how they're going to actually do that? But we haven't seen jump scares being used in item form before. We've only really seen it used in terms of stuff like going up to a dumpster and then a random zombie skin pops out or whatever else. And not only that, if we go ahead and compare Ghostface to how he actually works in Dead by Daylight, there is some pretty interesting things we can actually notice here, such as the fact that Ghostface uses stealthy abilities and stuff in order to stalk survivors undetected. And if we go ahead and actually read the official description of the special stalk ability over in Dead by Daylight, it mentions the following: hold down the power button to stalk survivors when Night Shroud is active. Hold down the power button when behind cover to lean out and stalk at a faster rate of 2 times. Completing a stalking progress on a survivor will cause them to become marked, applying the exposed status effect for 45 seconds. Based on this alone, the secondary stalk ability in Dead by Daylight, or I guess the special ability in Dead by Daylight, matches up to what we're already kind of being told right now regarding stuff in the files for Stalker on the Loose. Firstly, it has stalking in the name, but also it mentions that you're going to be able to mark an enemy, through that whole entire red visor special effect. So I wouldn't be surprised if the stalking ability is actually related to also marking and quote-unquote exposing those enemies in your nearby radius. On top of that, with the whole entire jump scare thing, it could be a whole entire situation where you're going to be able to kind of shroud yourself in darkness or whatever else, have the whole invisibility effect, because in Dead by Daylight, one of the other abilities is Night Shroud. And if I can quickly read that, it mentions that you can press the power button to activate Night Shroud when the power gauge is full. The Ghostface is granted the undetected status effect when Night Shroud is active, and then performing a basic attack fully depletes the power gauge and deactivates Night Shroud, which would make sense for how they're kind of planning on making this work in Fortnite as well, because it does mention that one of these abilities is going to have a cooldown once the ability actually ends. And considering the fact that we have a main and secondary ability, it could work similar to Dead by Daylight's Night Shroud, where when you have it activated, you're able to kind of do the whole entire effects or whatever else. Maybe it's going to work more in a Fortnite way with the whole entire, invisibility way or something like that, or maybe it's going to work like Dead by Daylight. We don't currently know, but if it is Ghostface, it would make sense for everything. And then when you use the main knife attack or normal attack, whatever it might be, it would go ahead and get rid of your shrouded effect and allow you to go ahead and use, that whole entire cooldown going down and everything else again, and you would have to wait a little bit before you could do the special ability again. And I completely understand that right now, all we really know in terms of stuff in the actual game files is stuff I've mentioned. We don't know if it's actually going to be a knife or not, as far as I'm aware. A lot of people online have said it is going to be a knife, but as of right now, the only thing I've been able to personally find in the files relates to a Stalker on the Loose weapon, and no specific, stabbing abilities or anything like that. Just kind of attacking, jump scares, that type of stuff. So who knows if this actually is going to be a Scream collaboration. But considering the fact that it's being worked on for Fortnitemares 2025, 2025, and it will be releasing around that time as around the same exact area when we're getting a Jason collaboration in the game. It just kind of makes sense, right? It kind of matches up to everything they've got going on, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stalker on the Loose is actually a ability or weapon for Ghostface. I have also seen some non-believers who don't think it's Ghostface saying that what if this is a special weapon for Jason, and that could make sense because we already have the medallion coming to the game for Jason. Why not add a special weapon as well to kind of have, you know, a Fortnitemares weapon for Jason and a whole entire, you know, medallion to go along with it. Maybe it's something where when you eliminate Jason, if he's an NPC or a boss on the island, you get the weapon and you also manage to actually get this medallion as well, and that could be a possibility, right? There's still a lot of areas where we don't know absolutely everything going on here, but of course I thought I'd make today's video just kind of summarize the bits of information we do, kind of speculate based on Dead by Daylight stuff, and get your opinions on this whole entire collaboration. Now I know you might have seen this video earlier, however when I uploaded it I decided, you know what, I'm just going to re-record it, because at first I had my monitor at like 100% volume, so I thought my microphone was just like peeking through the roof or something. But I also felt like I could give the information in a more concise way that, you know, was a little bit easier to understand. With that said, however, I hope you champs and champions enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you're hoping for Fortnitemares 2025, and keep in mind that even though Ghostface might be coming or might not be coming, the only real confirmed collaboration as of right now is, of course, Jason, based on the medallion in the files deliberately mentioning his name one-to-one. However, you know, a lot of information is adding up here that I wouldn't be surprised if Ghostface does come into the game, especially since it is a character a lot of people do want to see in Fortnite. Until next time, however, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on another upload, so until then, peace out.